Guys, from now on, every Thursday is a match.
This isn't over.
I think we need to be very careful about xenophobia. We need to understand that South Africa does not have a xenophobia problem. We have an Afrophobia problem. We have millions of Germans in the Western Cape. We have a lot of foreigners in this country, whether legally or illegally, who are not from Africa. They are not being discriminated against. They are not being chased out. This is an Afrophobia, and that needs to be addressed.
If you are on the right side of African news, I'm sure you might have probably come across headlines from South Africa wanting all immigrants to leave their country. And so many people believe that they do not want all immigrants to leave the country. Because when they talk about immigrants leaving the country, let's be for real. They are talking about African immigrants leaving their country. They are not talking about Europeans. They're not talking about Americans. They are talking about Africans. We're talking Zimbabwe. We're talking Nigeria. We're talking Ghanaians, Mozambique. They want them to leave their country. But people are asking a very important question. A very important question that will benefit from all of these things that they are doing at the end of the day. Will benefit from them turning their back to the people that they were supposed to be standing together with, will benefit from the xenophobic thing that is currently going on in South Africa. And I feel like it's such a good conversation to have. People are reacting to it because according to what I read online, June 30th was even the deadline that was given to the immigrants in their country to leave and get out of their country. It is sparking a huge conversation. People are having a lot of things to say. So let's get into it.
Who benefits from the diplomatic and economic damage that South Africa is doing to itself right now with this anti-immigrant rhetoric? Who benefits from South Africa being completely isolated, with no allies, nobody around them, no other African countries willing to step in and help and support them when the people who benefit show up and go, "Ooh, we told you they couldn't govern themselves. Look at what they've done." We'll have to take power and control now and make sure that they never get to, rule or govern themselves again, because they obviously can't. And there's nobody to step in and stop it. Who benefits from that? That is the conversation that so many people are missing and we need to be having.
They said they are going to take our women. Can you really come to another country just for fun, for food and other things, and leaving your kids alone in your own country? My African brothers, let us bring back the true African spirit. So I'm calling for my African brothers. I'm going to facilitate. I'm going to make sure. I'm going to visit these countries. I'm going to visit you, my brothers and sisters, in your countries to revive the spirit of Africa, to revive the spirit of Ubuntu.
What? This Temu Shaka Zulu wannabe talking about African spirit. What African spirit are you showing by beating people? Even little girls have been injured, little boys hurt, some have been unalived. And you're talking about African spirit. Let's come to your country, brother, and say, you're no brother to me, mate. You're no brother to me, okay? Same guy who was doing this in front of a Boer lady or a British, a South African lady, yeah? But when it comes to African people, beat them with sticks like they're animals. You don't even treat an animal like that. Do that to an animal, you'll get arrested where I live. You don't even treat animals like that. But you treated black African people from other countries, whether they be Namibians, Zimbabweans, Ghanaians, Somalis, Malawans, Mozambicans, Eswatini, people around your own country, treating them like absolute doo-doo. And now you're talking about brothers and sisters. Ubuntu. What Ubuntu is this? This drunkard has no clue what Ubuntu is. Ubuntu is hospitality. We give hospitality to outsiders. Yeah, that's Chiranu, the way of the people. You're not showing the way of the people. You're not part of the people, mate. Get the hell out of here, African spirit. This is your spirit, mate. Keep your spirit down there. We don't want it. Stay down there, mate. If you do visit those countries, you're welcome. I mean, there's nothing we can do. We're not really gonna start being violent. You won't see like thousands of people protesting to try and take you out because you're there. Yeah, because we're civil. We have the actual Ubuntu, the spirit of Ubuntu. If I was to go to Tanzania right now, they'll treat me well. If I was to go to Ghana right now, they'll treat me well. I'll be welcome. But if I go to your area because, I'm a foreigner, get out of my country. You're still in my country. But if you see a white woman who's been in your country for like 20 years, a German woman, You're part of us now. Give her a hug. And she doesn't even want to hug you. And you still, hey, it's okay. Absolute insanity. Keep your spirit, mate. That's not African spirit. Real African spirit is past all this nonsense. Real African spirit is hospitality. Real African spirit is cooperation, is unity. You're pushing division. Even legal immigrants have been hurt by the stuff you're doing and have been kicked out and have been attacked. And you're talking about unity. There's no unity. Get the hell out of here. Keep your unity down there. All right? Even down there in South Africa, many South Africans are not for this bullshit. I'm 100% sure of that. These people are crazy, bro.
While South Africans are fighting immigrants, somebody is stealing their whole country. And it's not the immigrants. When you look at the actual numbers of people who attended those marches, they were small. The internet has a way of making outrage seem bigger than it actually is. But more importantly, both migrants and people against them are fighting for scraps. And you have to ask, who's actually eating the bread then? Because whilst we're chasing pregnant Zimbabwean women away from clinics for using 200 rands worth of medical supplies, a politician used 150 million rand of COVID funds to buy Smeg appliances and renovate his house. Another used $250 million in public security funds to build a swimming pool. Liam Jacobs has literally made a career out of documenting and calling this type of behavior out. By the way, I saw a comment that said he's literally the Jonasi of Parliament because of how many times he's switched parties. The corruption isn't hidden, you just have to look at the right people. And the scary thing is, it never stops there. It started with Nigerians, and then Zimbabweans. Now people from Limpopo are getting targeted because they don't look South African enough. You're building a hierarchy of who belongs, and once you start doing that, you don't get to control where it ends. That's how you got Rwanda, and that's how you got apartheid. No rational human being commits these things without being convinced that their target isn't fully human. Because this is exactly what's happening in America right now, for largely the same reasons. In the US, you have a working class that's been devastated since manufacturing moved to China, and wages have stagnated for decades. Then the same people who did that to them now point their rage at Mexicans whilst walking away clean. MAGA isn't a working class revolution, it is working class rage that has been redirected. And someone in South Africa is doing the exact same thing. They're making sure that the anger of people in the townships, legitimate, real, valid anger after 30 years of so-called liberation, where their land hasn't been distributed and their minds still aren't theirs, they're making sure that that anger is being aimed at Somalians instead of Santon. And what makes this worse is who's being targeted. The ANC's entire armed struggle was conducted in exile, in Zimbabwe, in Mozambique. Those frontline states fed, housed, and protected South African liberation fighters, and they were bombed for it. They had acts of war committed against them for standing with South Africa, and now we're turning away and deporting Ghanaians because we think they're gonna steal our jobs. These are diplomatic wounds that make one thing clear: South Africa is not for Africans. That's why it was so easy to support Mexico in the World Cup. By the way, I'm gonna leave this here for the rest of the video. And listen, June 30th will come and go. You will still have potholes, and medical funds will still be used for politician holidays. Getting rid of immigrants deals with the symptoms, not the disease. Pouring water on one burning branch doesn't stop the whole tree from burning. Political action doesn't feel as sexy and revolutionary as a march or a protest. It doesn't feel like enough of a silver bullet. But you've had the same ruling party ever since independence, and somehow anger never seems to land there. Hate is a very powerful unifying force. Somebody knows that, and somebody is using it.
Over the years, South Africa has reportedly been accused of xenophobic targeting and violence against African immigrants in their country, like Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Zambia, Ghanaians, in videos of businesses being looted, people have been assaulted, lives have been lost, and those incidents didn't happen once. These have happened repeatedly over the years. And every time that happens, a crack appears in the idea of African unity. Because let's just take a look at it. South Africa qualified for the World Cup, and this is the first time since they hosted in 2010. And this is supposed to be a moment of celebration For Africa, we're talking about a moment of continental pride and just seeing other African countries traditionally supporting each other during this period. But it wasn't this time. We have people literally supporting Mexico, like other Africans come together to support Mexico. Even the people of Mexico are so surprised on how they gain fans from Africa overnight. Like literally they were so surprised at how much Africans come together to support them and how much Africans were waving their flags in their respective countries. And that was not just about football. That is a huge message, a loud and clear message from the rest of Africa that we see you and we're not okay with what you guys are doing. South Africa's history of xenophobic violence have always been linked to a period of sustained economic crisis. Unemployment is above 30%. Over half of the young people are locked out. Inequality is growing. Corruption is rampant. But instead of holding their leaders accountable, instead of holding the government accountable, instead of fixing their own problem, all they do is put the blame on immigrants. They blame fellow Africans and they make Africans in their country a scapegoat. So at the end of the day, who benefit from all of this that is going on? Who benefit when Africans are turning their back against each other? Who benefit when there is a crack in the idea of African unity? Who benefit from all of this? Is it the politician who use xenophobic to win votes, or the elite who do not even want you asking questions about why they failed you? And maybe, just maybe, external forces will want to see South Africa weakened and isolated. But one thing is certain in all of this that is going on: African people do not benefit, because you lose, we all lose at the end of the day. You cannot beat the hands that fed you and then wonder why nobody wants to feed you anymore. You can't treat your fellow Africans like enemies then expect support when you need it. The world is watching, and what we are seeing is not the rainbow nation. What we are seeing is almost like a country that has forgotten its own history. A country that has forgotten that the same people that they are chasing today helped free them yesterday. And this is what the internet has seen. The people of Africa are so hungry. Africans all over the world are so angry with the way they are being treated in South Africa. Africans are so angry at the way that they are handling the entire situation there in South Africa. And when you watch the video, when you watch the things they are saying, you will see that they only have this much smoke for Africans. So I get it when they say they do not have xenophobic problem, they have Afrophobia problems. Let me hear what you guys think in the comment section, and I will see you guys in the next one.